Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Okay, thank you, Dan. My name is Alexandrea Day, and I live in the Seattle area. And I'm the CEO of MetaBrain Labs, which is a very forward-thinking brain-computer interface solution for mental health care. And it's heading toward a digital therapeutic, so to help people with their mind.
Awesome. So how did you get the idea to start this company?
Well, I began my career as a therapist for 18 years, doing a process that's currently found in CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. And I was very successful, never had to advertise, had more clients than I could want. And after 18 years, I kind of fell in love with the internet, and I thought, oh, I've got to develop software for it. So I developed software for 18 years. And then when COVID hit, like many people, I reinvented myself. And I integrated those two careers. So I took my therapy process and put it into software. And that's what we have today, a chatbot that is driven by brainwave measurements to have a self-conversation.
Awesome. So without mentioning a specific customer name, could you share kind of a use case of a customer that's using you today and how they're using you?
Well, we have coaches that lead their clients. So a coach will help someone with a problem they're having. And again, just to know why you do what you do is not enough to know it. You have to actually change it. And that's what we do is we go to the core. So clients, which to us are our coaches, work with their clients to help them change their belief systems. I mean, there is a reason why people like Tiger Woods is, for years at the top of his game. His father told him he was going to be a success. So he created that guy. Same happens for anyone that's risen to the top. They've been programmed to win. So I'm bringing the differentiator to help anyone be able to program their brain to reach any height. So that's what our clients do, the coaches, and we are extended into golf. We work with golf coaches as well, who also work with golfers.
So I guess like for me to understand, it's like the software, so your customers are the coaches and they use the software for their clients, correct?
Well, it's actually hardware and software. So there's a headset that collects brain waves in real time. Goes on. It connects to our app with Bluetooth. The content or the data goes all the way to our platform, gets analyzed and brought back to the app to send the next question during the chatbot experience. So if you tell the truth, then it advances to asking more why questions. So you have problems public speaking. Why is that? Well, because I'm nervous. No, because it's not just nervous. There's something else underlying it. So I don't have confidence. And that's probably true. And then you work, why don't you have confidence? And you continue to drill down until you get to the core. So there's the headset, which is hardware. There's the mobile app that's software. And then there's a platform that does all the data analysis. And it's also a coach management product. So a coach can go in, assign content to their clients and have management that way. So it's a big thing.
So essentially the coach that they buy the headset and then they mail it to their, like, does each client, so you have to have one, or is it like in person only? I guess like what like specifically is, so like, let's just say like I'm a golf coach, right? And I have clients that are golfers, right? So do they have to be in person for this to work, or do you have like clients where the coach will mail each headset, like if each client has one headset, like what does that look like?
It's actually both. So golf coaches only really train in person. Maybe sometimes a little bit online with a Zoom, but typically you're working with, form and physicality and those kinds of things. So they meet in person so they can have a headset they lend to their people. Run into a block. Well, they go, I have no idea why I think that. And that's where the coach comes in. It is our goal to have this completely self-driving in the next year or two. We plan to have it FDA approved, so it can also be paired with, say, pharmaceuticals, depression, and working with pharmaceuticals. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, works well with depression. Antidepressants work well, but together they're better. And that's what I'm bringing, is someone can take those antidepressants, but know they're working toward a goal of improvement, not just suppression, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I guess how much do those headsets cost? Like if I was going to buy one online, like how much do you charge for it?
$250.
And then your subscription cost is how much?
Well, it ranges depending on, like in golf, it's like 40 a month, but
Okay.
our intent is to scale to as many people as possible. So I can see us down as little as $10 a month to help the masses.
Right. So you're saying it depends on like
The use
volume, like
case, the
use
use
cases.
case. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. So, and in terms of like the back end of how it works, it has in terms of like from the AI standpoint, to have like a API to GPT or like where does the I guess chatbot aspect come in?
Okay. So we built our own chatbot because I want to control the questions that I ask someone so that ChatGPT isn't saying, well, are you happily married? That's not a good question. So I control the questions, but AI is used to make a better, I'd say a humanized experience. So for example, if you get too many invalids while you're going through the chatbot, you kind of get upset like, geez, come on. I want something to be right here. So I can create versioning with ChatGPT and it's integrated now. So instead of saying invalid, it may say, oh, you're a little bit close, try a different tact. So it can version every time there's an invalid. It just makes it feel like it's more human.
So
And of
you guys
course,
have
there's other things as well.
so you guys have your own LLM, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So what would you say is the biggest challenge that you face in the business today?
I guess doing as much as I want to do now, because I know how fast AI is flying forward and how my competitors might be under the radar, but I know they're there. And I am the first to combine, to kind of integrate data-driven mental health. That's what I'm doing. It's your brain. It's not a therapist telling you what's wrong with you. It's you discovering what you want to do better. So it's just repositioning the whole process because being diagnosed with a mental health problem doesn't feel good to anyone.
Right.
So I guess it's that. It's money, it's partnerships, it's, the things I need to do to go forward faster. So I just feel like I've got to move. And so that's the biggest barrier is how do you move faster?
So when you say move forward faster, are you looking at more like the features of the product or more like how many customers you have using you guys today?
Well, FDA clearance, that will take time. We're
Right.
entering clinical trials. Those take time. So I'm looking at, I'm in R&D. Even though I have my golf and I have my coaches, those are consumer use cases. But my goal is to be in medical, developing a new path for people to have data-driven mental health care. That piece will take me at least 2 years to launch. So
For
that's what
sure.
I'm
So
looking at. But as
so
much as I enjoy the journey of the R&D and the research, it's going to take time to realize the dream.
for sure. So I guess in terms of next year, right? Like obviously 2024 is around the corner. So for that to be successful, like on average, like how many headsets would you want to be selling per month?
Well, like I said, we're just kind of dabbling with golf and weight loss and things. That's not our goal. My goal is not to sell headsets specifically, is to get into clinical trials with the right people on the right goals of research and to find partners that want to partner with me, like pharmaceutical companies. They've got the money. They're looking for digital therapeutics. And we all know therapy and medications work better together. I can provide one, they can provide the other. So it's not about selling headsets. I would love to have at least 5 clinical trials going next year. That's what I want. I talked to one university today. Looks like I'm getting a green light. So that's one. Now I got 4 more to line up.
So you're looking, so the conversation you're having now are not just with pharmaceutical companies, but also with, yeah, I guess, like medical research labs
Yes,
at
yes,
universities, right?
yes, yes. Because
Okay,
it's publishing, it's getting out there, it's advancing science. I mean, that's what my real dream is. In fact, the end goal is to map with the data I'm gathering personality to the genome. Why? So I can predict what disease you might end up with if you continue to feel a certain way every day. We already know cancer patients, people with depression have a higher rate of cancer. Why is that? Those are the kind of questions I want to answer. They're serious questions. And if we can do things to change how we feel, to reduce our disease or at least prolong it, That's what I'm about.
So in terms of, today, right, you mentioned it's golf coaches or like some coaches, right? So as of right now, like how many coaches do you have using you today?
Around, not that many, a few.
Like 100, 10,
No,
20, like
probably
on
around 10.
average,
Probably around 10.
10. Okay.
I
And
mean,
so
we just launched in the fall.
okay, awesome. So I guess like I'm curious, right? Because they're using this is like a new product. So, like, what
Yes,
kind of feedback are you getting from them? Like when they're
great.
using it with their clients, like I'm sure it's like it's awesome, right? When you have it out in the open, you have customers that are using it. So like, what are they telling you when they're using it? Like, how do
Sure.
they feel with the? I guess, and even I'm curious, right? Like, sort of, you don't have to dive too deep, but like, I guess like a case study, right? Like before and after, because before probably nothing even close to what you have out there. So what does
Right.
that look like for these coaches?
So I would say that the number one thing I hear repeatedly is I feel a subtle change. Subtle. It means like I can't really define it for you. It's like if you had a pain in your life, a pain in your body, and then you don't have it anymore. It's really hard to define, right? It is scientifically. Same with a belief system. If you have a belief system and you change it, then you notice, yeah, I didn't react like that anymore. That's what I that's the experience people proclaim over and over again. It's not this big dramatic I'm a different person. No, it's just I'm not triggered the way I used to be triggered.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. I think the product has lots of value because to your point, right? Like when you're just having a conversation with a coach or a therapist, you might not say exactly what you want to say.
Right.
But here you have this device that you've created where essentially even if you don't say what you want to say, it's going to get to the root cause, the
Yes.
underlying of what you're actually thinking and
Yeah.
feeling. And I think from that standpoint, when it comes to life coaching, when it comes to therapy, when it comes to medical stuff, that there's so much value in what you're doing.
And the research shows that we all lie every day a minimum of 3 times.
That's yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes people lie without even like even lying to like themselves, right? Like
Yes.
without it, like it's just it can be very difficult sometimes. So when did you? So it's like you mentioned that you've always loved technology and you were, you had this background. So and you started this business during COVID, right? But how did and just for all this to come together, I'm sure it took a lot of time. It wasn't
Mm,
easy, right? So like,
right.
how did you even, I guess,
Come up
start
with the
this?
idea.
Yeah, 'cause
Right.
I'm really curious. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, that's why I'm probably so unique is I've got patents filed. They're starting to come through now. Nobody has invented in this space to combine lie detection with mental health. So in my process 40 years ago, I would ask people questions and be able to determine if they were telling the truth or not, and then help them drill down into the why. And then the result was after reframing the beliefs, they felt different and they felt better and they came back every 3 weeks for another program. So I basically took what I did there manually. There was the analog version. And then I developed it into software. I thought, well, what kind of tool do I need? And I thought, hey, the brain. The brain's a perfect place. I also knew there was a polygraph. I understood polygraphs. They're actually measuring psychological changes while you're making statements, answering questions. So again, therapy is about asking questions and looking at for a response. And then the brainwave research, when I actually went in and looked at what was there, they did say that under stress, theta drops, beta goes up. When you're relaxed, theta's up and beta's down. So that's kind of my lever that I'm using. In polygraphs, they never use brainwaves. They used heart rate, respiration, and other things, but they never use brainwaves. So I'm just bringing some new tech for a polygraph. I also know there was always a baseline question. So we have a baseline in ours. What is claim your name in full. My name is Alexandria Day. Then it says claim a name that is not yours. So for me, I always go, my name is Jeff Bezos. And of course, I get a lie. So that's my baseline. Then every question thereafter is measured against those two. So it is framed around the polygraph that is actually about 85% accurate, which is a good starting point for me. I believe I'm going to 100, but this is where the research working with the university to validate the process. In fact, I have a BCI, brain computer interface lab on the East Coast in one of the universities, I won't name it, that will be doing research with me to validate my process, even measuring other brain waves, because I know there's like a P300. I'd like to check that one out too, because in the research it says that's the one that is the most easy to measure a deception. So this is why I'm doing research for the next couple of years. I want to prove it works. I've got the patents locked down. Then I find my partners, do my clinical trials, and then sell it. Because you know what? I'm 70. I'd like to retire soon.
For sure. So
In 5
essentially,
years.
yeah, it's like when you mentioned if you're talking about, challenges with funding. So it's more so just that you want to raise money to, have more of these trials, essentially, right? Just to
Yeah.
get better case studies.
Right. So I've been very fortunate to be funded by friends and family that had money, which has been a big blessing. And now I'm 2 years into bootstrapping. Now I'm actually raising capital. So I've hired myself a COO also to take some of the load off me so I can focus on R&D. He's raising capital. He works for a venture fund now. He knows how to package us. He knows who to go to. Now we're just kind of getting our story together and raising the big money so I can go faster.
No, yeah, for sure. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And we're rooting for you. So what would you say is like the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this company?
Oh boy, that's a good one. I don't have many regrets. I've had about 5 startups in my life. So
Okay.
I've done this 5 or 6 times, and I know what I'm doing. That's a tough question. I guess one of the things is I wish I would have been funded earlier, so I
Right.
didn't have to bootstrap for 2 years. So I guess that's probably the only thing is I wish I would have been able to raise money. But then again, the way I live, I believe there's a reason for everything. So I don't dwell on that. I just say that it's made me more conservative with cash, very careful, taking longer to make decisions. So it served me rather than when you have money, it's easy to get a little sloppy. So can't do that.
Yeah, I would
So
say one of the most common things we hear on this podcast when it comes to that question is it's going to cost more and it's going to take longer than you think because that is just defines almost any business.
yeah, but see, I've already lived that many times, so I already know it.
For sure. Awesome. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website or
Sure.
social media handles, just best ways to get in contact with you?
Okay, it's MetaBrainLabs.com. And you can always get me on LinkedIn, Alexandria Day. And I look forward to hearing from people. It's great.
Awesome. Alexandria, thank you so much for your time today. Of
Thank you. Nice to be on your program.
course. All right.
Bye.
Bye.